business taxes, YouTube tax, profit tax from the total income. In this video, I'll be going through all of the taxes I had to pay for the year 2021. I do own a company, so I'll split this into two different sections, business taxes and my own personal taxes. And at the end, I do have some bonus content about YouTube taxes as well, so stick around for that. Just for some context, I do live in Lithuania, which is part of European Union and Eurozone, but of course, tax rules do differ from one country to another. Either way, full screen this video and let's get started. For business taxes, it really depends on what type of company you have, and there are 4 different ways to register a company in Lithuania and majority other European countries. So we have sole proprietorship, we have partnership, we have limited liability company, and we have public limited company. My company is registered as a partnership, and there are 2 main taxes I have to pay. First one is PSD, and in Lithuania is basically public health insurance. For this, I have to pay 6.96% per month from the minimum wage in Lithuania, which in 2021 was 642 euros. And that basically 44 euros and 81 cents per month. And the whole total throughout the year, because I had to pay it monthly, was 537 euros and 72 cents. The next category is profit tax, and this is actually very simple. You either pay 5 or 15% of the profit that your company makes, depending on various rules. I'm personally in a 5% category, and I had to pay 256 euros for the whole 2021. Okay, so let's get to the totals, because that's basically it. We only have 2 main taxes for the partnership registered company here in Lithuania. So the total business taxes throughout the whole year were 793 euros and 72 cents. And you might think, hey, that's not a lot. And yes, it is, but actually it's a bit more mind-blowing, because that's from the total income of the whole year, which was 55,717 euros. That's about 1.4% tax rate, if you think about it. And of course, you might think, Benas, this is amazing, sign me up. Where is Lithuania? When can I come and register the company here? And not so fast. It's actually, most of my taxes are paid via personal taxes, not through business taxes. Let me explain why. By the way, if you're enjoying stuff like this, I actually do have a newsletter where I share my taxes, incomes, investments, a bit more details regarding all of this, because I can't fit everything in one video. So if you're curious, you can check the previous issues that I wrote in a description below. Okay, so let's move on to personal taxes, and here I only have to pay income tax, and for 2021 it was actually a hefty bill to pay. So the total was 5,468 euros and 96 cents. Yeah, that's, if we compare that to the previous about 800 euros for the business taxes, you see that the majority of taxes are actually paid via personal taxes, and I have to pay basically like 15% of the salary that I get from my company. Okay, so the total taxes for 2021, combining my business and my personal taxes, were 6,262 euros and 68 cents. So if we look at my total income versus the total taxes that I paid personal and business, that's only 11% tax, like about 11% tax rate, which I had to pay for the whole year. And for some of you, this may sound like crazy, and actually does for me as well, like hearing about what you have to pay in Germany, in France, in USA. Usually people say like they're taxed about like 50 to 40%. So 11% looks like a tax haven, but you have to understand one thing. The situation that I have is actually not usual you can like set up everything as I have, but it's not usual for an average Lithuanian. For example, the biggest difference in terms of taxes is that I do have a special service contract that's called in Lithuania, because if you have a partnership, you don't actually need that traditional job contract. With your partnership, you can actually do something called service contract, which allows you not to pay actually quite a lot of taxes. Majority of that is actually through what's called basically that goes into your pension, and I don't have to pay that. I only have to pay 15% of what I take out as a salary. And even the numbers like income tax are actually lower compared to if you just worked at some company and had a standard job contract. These numbers are actually relatively different from what I have. But taxes can get very complicated really fast, so I won't go into much more depth. However, if you do have any questions regarding how the tax system works or anything like that, drop a comment down below. I'll try to answer as many of these as I can. But let's talk about YouTube taxes as well. So if you have anything to do with YouTube, you know that creators can earn income from having these videos and the ads on these videos, and actually in other ways like memberships and stuff like that. So in last year of June, YouTube actually started taxing people. I think it's everybody, including Americans and non-Americans, before we actually get the payout. So there are actually 3 different categories here, and to be honest, I haven't really found out information of which category does what, so it's a bit difficult to actually know. But generally there are 3 categories that you have to pay taxes on, and the standard rate is actually 30%. But because Lithuania has a special, I don't know, some tax treaty with USA, I'm actually able to lower that. So first, it's motion picture and TV. The rate for me is 10%. And I think in here, this is what the whole advertising basically revenue falls under. I suspect it does, so don't take my word for it, but it seems like it. Then there's other copyright rate, which is also 10%. I have no idea what type of revenue from YouTube is considered this. And then there's service rate, which is 0%. So from 30% to 0%. That's actually pretty good. And I think here is all of the memberships, all of the thank you buttons that are like under down in the under video, which you can basically like thank a creator by paying them or subscribing to their membership, or probably live chats and super chats during live streams, all of that stuff. Taxes are a difficult subject, and if you watch until this point, I suggest watching me reacting to investment advice on TikTok just to cool down a little bit. But that's it from me. Ciao.